Hello. 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 It is the end of the year, the end of 2015, and you know what that means. It is my favorite video of the year. The top books of 2015, aka Jenny is getting successively older and it's making her depressed. Just kidding. But it is making me kind of pensive about age and life and futures and adult stuff and moving on. So I have a magical number of 7 books on my list. I tried to aim for 10, but I couldn't. Apparently I have like a top book threshold of how much I have to like a book in order for me to add it to the list, and only 7 books made the cut this year. Partly because my reading year was crap. Not saying that I didn't read some great books, but I didn't finish my reading challenge. I was super busy. I still am super busy, but I thought I would squeeze this little video in for you. So let's start. On number 7, we have The Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, which is the second book in the Red Rising trilogy. Red Rising didn't make the cut last year. It was a little bit too Hunger Games-ish, too Game of Thrones-ish. This book, though, is just like an intergalactic soap opera with a lot of bloodshed and intrigue, political intrigue, and it's awesome. And I can't wait for The Morning Star. So if you like that kind of stuff, like space travel and wars and fleets and armadas and just people killing each other, I know that sounds horrible, but in books, obviously, not in real life. If you do that in real life, you need help. And I should probably call the police. On number 6, I have a Feel Happy book, and I love adding Feel Happy books to my list because Feel Happy books are just books which make me feel happy, which make me feel giggly, which make me feel so sunshiny and positive when I read them. This one is P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. It's cute, it's adorable, and like Lara Jean, she is 16 and she reads like she's 16, and her whole entire life is basically like a candy bubblegum pink cake, which is all she does, baking in and out the whole entire day, and it's so adorable. If I have to describe the series in one word, it's adorable. Adorable. The next book also falls into the Feel Happy category, but it also falls into the I'm amazed the author managed to pull this off category, and it's Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. And it is a parody, or it is based on Harry Potter, but the main character is called Simon Snow. And the Draco Malfoy of the book is called Basilius. I have no idea, something Pilch. I went in and I was like, okay, this is probably gonna be fun, but you know, there's gonna be too many parallels and it's gonna be too much of a carbon copy. But at some point, I kind of stopped thinking about Harry Potter and very much thinking about Simon and Baz, and very much theorizing about the insidious humdrum. And I think that was pretty amazing that the author actually managed to get my head out of like always drawing these parallels to Harry Potter and kind of managed to make me delve into the story and appreciate the story for what it was. This book made the list because I was just amazed at how Rainbow Rowell managed to turn something which could have easily gone downhill into something that was actually a really, really good book. And I absolutely love Rainbow Rowell, if I haven't said this often enough. Number 4 is a book series, and it's The Thief of Atolia. It currently consists of 4 books, but I only read the first 3 because I feel like the first 3 are like a closed arc, and then it kind of opens with a new arc, more or less. It's about 3 kingdoms, Sunis, Edis, and Atolia, and their political relationships and intrigues and wars, etc., etc. If I had to cut to the chase, it's a very typical kingdom, queendoms, kings and queens kind of story, but what I really, really love about these books is just the writing style. Megan Whale Turner writes so bare, like she doesn't really flourish, she writes so to the point that it's so easy to kind of read sentences, and like the sentence literally means everything that it says, and it literally describes everything that's happening in that moment, and you read it really fast because that's what I usually do. You fly over it, and at some point you realize, oh, the thing that was supposed to happen already happened, you know? So it kind of forces you to pay a lot of attention to the detail. You kind of have to like read every sentence and think about every sentence and what it could mean, what it could inflect, because a lot of things just don't get spelled out, so you have to use your brain a little bit. I think what I really like about it is just it demands the reader to be perceptive and to read carefully, and if you do that, you get a wonderful, wonderful story, and it is amazing. I love it. Now coming to my top 3. On the 3rd spot is The First 15 Lives of Perry August, and this book is just it's just really interesting starting from its concept. It's about a guy named Terry August. Whenever he dies, he gets reborn back into the same era where he lived his life with the old memories of all of his previous lives. So basically he just lives an endless loop but with eternal memory. And one day, this girl from the future who's similar to him comes to his deathbed and tells him the apocalypse is approaching closer, faster and faster, and he has to figure out why. And it's really interesting because it's kind of like you have 15 stories packed into one person, and every one of his lives has like a distinct story. Obviously, there are some characters who are like a red thread throughout the whole entire story, but it's just interesting how he learns from his past mistakes, how he tries to do new things in each of his lives, and it's kind of just a really interesting twist on time and on history. And I can highly recommend it. It's one of those typical fiction books with a little splash of science fiction and fantasy, which, you know, everybody could read. Yeah, I really loved it. I think that was a really amazing book. On the second spot is Station 11, and this is a science fiction slash post-apocalyptic fiction novel. First storyline follows a girl post-apocalypse, and apocalypse was kind of like a disease which killed off a lot of people, and the girl is part of a wandering orchestra, and they're trying to shed some culture in the post-apocalyptic society. The second storyline follows an actor who dies on the day the apocalypse breaks out. And the third storyline follows a graphic novel that the girl finds, or the girl used to read in her past, and it's like a narrative version of the graphic novel, and it's a science fiction story about the world being invaded by aliens and the people fleeing on this planet-like spaceship called the Station 11. These three storylines, they seem very disconnected at the very beginning, and in the very beginning you're just like, WTF, what is going on here? But at some point, you know, little dots start to connect, and you see how certain elements from one storyline start to connect and appear in the other storylines, and everything just makes sense in the end. And I kind of really love these kind of stories. It is very well crafted. You can see that the author put a lot of attention to detail into her story, and I really appreciate that. So it was fantastic. If you haven't read it, go read it. It's great. On the top spot, drum roll please, is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I haven't read anything by Maggie Stiefvater before The Raven Cycle. Currently there are 3 books. It's The Raven Boys, Dream Thieves, and Blue Lily Lily Blue. I don't know why, but the series has just captured my attention completely. It follows a group of friends, 4 guys and a girl, and they are searching for a long-lost dead Welsh king in the state of Virginia. The girl is from a family of psychics. The 4 boys, they go to the local rich boys school. This sounds fairly YA-ish with a splash of mystery and magic behind it, but similar to what I really appreciate in Station 11 is you can just see how much care and how much work Maggie Stiefvater put into laying out the plot and developing the characters in these stories. Like, you can reread scenes, and every time you reread them you discover something more, and the characters, they are flawed and they are wonderful and they're quirky and whimsical but like perfect at the same time. And the story, it's the right amount of like magical but normal banter and like aggressive teenagerness but deep and meaningful conversations about life. It just has like everything, and I don't know why, but I just really love this series. And the foreshadowing in this book is done so well because, you know, you read things in the 3rd book and you go back to the 1st book and you realize that Maggie Stiefvater literally wrote what is gonna happen in a perfectly clear sentence. But with your reader expectations, you just kind of don't expect things to happen the way how they're clearly stated. It's just, I really love this series. It is great, it is fantastic, and that is why it is my top pick of this year. I hope you enjoyed the list. Tell me if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are on these books, and tell me what your favorite books were of the year. So that's it. I wish you all a happy new year, and see you next time. Bye!